Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Dragon Ruler Armed Dragon deck profile. So I'm really excited to do some for you guys because we just got all the Dragon Rulers back at 2 on the most recent list, which is absolutely crazy. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Again, your name, description, every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to start off with 2 copies of Tidal. Tidal's an amazing card that we just recently got back to 2 with all of the other Dragon Rulers. And all the Dragon Rulers actually share a common effect. And if this card's in your hand or graveyard, you can banish a total of 2 of their corresponding attribute and or dragon type monsters from your hand or graveyard, except this card, and special summon this card, and during your opponent's end phase, if this card was special summoned, return it back to your hand, which is a really interesting effect to help you swarm the board with your Dragon Rulers. Also, if they're banished, you get to add their different attribute dragon type monster from your deck to your hand, which is a really interesting ability. But Tidal has a great unique ability that you can actually discard this card and a water monster to the graveyard to be able to send 1 monster from your deck to the grave, which is an awesome Foolish Burial effect. We then play 2 copies of Blaster. Blaster's an amazing card that we finally have back. But this card is that you can discard this card and a fire monster to the graveyard and then target a card on the field and destroy that target. You then play 2 copies of Tempest. Tempest is amazing because this card has the ability you can discard this card and a wind monster to the graveyard to add any dragon type monster you want from your deck to your hand. We then play 2 copies of Redox. Redox is amazing in this deck. It's basically a monster reborn that you can discard this card and an earth monster to the graveyard and then target a monster in your graveyard and special summon that target, which is an awesome effect. We then play 2 copies of Dragon Ruler of Droplets. This card is amazing in the deck and has the ability you can discard this card and a dragon type or water monster to special summon out a copy of Tidal from your deck, which is a great ability to instantly get your copy of Tidal on your side of the field. We then play 2 copies of Burner. This card helps you summon out your copy of Blaster. We then play 2 copies of Lightning. Lightning is amazing as a 2-of as well to help you summon out your copies of Tempest. And then we play 2 copies of Dragon Ruler of Pebbles. This card is really good as a 2-of to help you summon out your copies of Redox. I really feel like this is the best way to play them currently, with them all being at 2. Playing 2 of each of the baby rulers along with 2 each of the Dragon Rulers is just absolutely crazy that we can actually do this, and it's so cool to finally have the Dragon Rulers back at 2. We then play for the Armed Dragon cards. We're going to start with 3 copies of Pile Armed Dragon. Pile Armed Dragon is really good as a level 7 monster that can easily be summoned out to your side of the field by sending 1 other Wind Dragon monster or 1 other level 7 or higher Dragon monster from your hand to the graveyard. You can special summon this card from your hand. You can also send an Armed Dragon monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard, except another copy of this card. The target face a monster you control, and that target monster gains attack equal to the level of the monster sent to the graveyard times 300, which is a pretty big boost in attack points, but until the end of the turn, you cannot attack with, you only attack with 1 monster this turn, which is not that big of a deal because it helps you get your Dragon Rulers into the grave so you can summon them back later or banish them for their effects with other Dragon Rulers. We then play 3 copies of Armed Dragon Thunder level 7. Armed Dragon Thunder level 7 is really good as a 3-of in the deck. This card has the ability, if this card is sent to the graveyard, to activate a dragon monster effect. You can actually add an Armed Dragon card from your deck to your hand, which is a great ability to search out the exact card that you need. We then play 3 copies of Armed Dragon Thunder level 5. Level 5 is amazing as a 3-of in the build as well, because this card has the ability, if this card is sent to the graveyard, to activate a dragon monster's effect. You can actually add a level 5 or higher Wind Dragon monster from your deck to your hand, which is your copies of Pile Armed Dragon level 7, or your copies of Tempest, which is absolutely crazy. This card can actually search Tempest. We then play just 2 copies of level 3. Level 3 is great because if this card is sent to the graveyard to activate a dragon monster's effect, you actually get to draw a card, which is a pretty cool ability. We then play a single copy of Knight Armed Dragon, the Armored Knight Dragon. That is a really long name, but this card is actually summonable off your copy of Armed Dragon Flash, which is really interesting because it just lets you special summon a level 3 armed dragon monster, and this card is actually an armed dragon. By the second two words in the name, you actually have Knight Armed Dragon, so you can special summon this card out to your side of the field. But this card is a great extender in the deck, because if you special summon a level 5 or higher dragon monster, you can special summon this card in the hand, and if it's special summoned by any means, you can make this card's attribute and level become the same as one of your banished dragon monsters, and if this card is sent to the graveyard, you actually get to target a dragon monster you control, and it gains 1,000 attack points, which is a great boost to help you go in for game. We then play 3 copies of Kashtira Unicorn. The Kashtira engine is really good in this deck because they are level 7s and they're basically cyber dragons. And if you don't control a monster, you can easily special summon them to your side of the field. Plus, your copy of Unicorn can search out Birth, which is amazing to be able to just normal summon out a level 7 to your side of the field for free, as this deck really doesn't have that many normal summons. This card has the ability, if you control no monsters, you can special summon this card in the hand. During your main phase, you can add a Kashtira spell from your deck to your hand, which we're always adding Birth. And also, when it attacks good, or if your opponent activates a monster effect, you can actually look at your opponent's extra deck when you banish a monster from it face down, which is an insane effect. We can also play 3 copies of Fenrir. Fenrir is just too good not to play. Plus, these cards are wind and earth, so they work with your copies of your Redox and Tempest, which is amazing. And it's just amazing to be able to play in the build, to be able to summon out a copy of Fenrir and break your opponent's board. Plus, your copy of Fenrir can search out Unicorn and get you additional monsters into your hand so you can use them with your rulers, which is so cool to be able to do. And they're really easy to bring back to your side of the field with Kashtira Birth. Plus, they're level 7, so they make rank 7s really easily. So they're just really good in the deck overall to play 3 copies of Unicorn and 3 copies of Fenrir. And it's insane that we still have Fenrir at 3. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're just going to be playing a few, starting out with 2 copies of Armed Dragon Flash. 2 copies is really all you need in the deck. This card is basically E-Telly for your level 3 Armed Dragon monsters. That lets you just special summon them from your deck and Defense Solution, which is a really cool effect to instantly get them out on your side of the field. We then play 2 copies of Kashtira Birth. Kashtira Birth is really good as a 2-of in the build because this card lets you normal summon a level 7 monster without tributing. Also, during your main phase, you can special summon one of your non-XZ Kashtira monsters that's banished or in the graveyard. And if your opponent activates a spell card or effect while you control any Kashtira monster, you can target up to 3 cards. You can target 3 cards in your opponent's graveyard and just banish them, which is an insane effect to banish them face down so your opponent doesn't have access to them anymore. We then also play 3 copies of Pressured Planet. Pressured Planet is amazing as a 3-of to search out the exact Kashtira monster that you want, so you can just special summon it out to your side of the field, basically playing 6 copies of Fenrir and 6 copies of Unicorn in the deck, because you're playing 3 copies of the field spell that instantly gets you out your monsters. The other cool thing about this card is monsters you control gain 100 attack and defense points for each different attribute on the field, and just with the Dragon Rulers alone, you have 4 different attributes to be able to put on your side of the field to give your monsters a 400 attack point boost just off of having all 4 of the Dragon Rulers on your side of the field, which makes them they're already massive, but this card makes them huge. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start with a single copy of Blaze, Supreme Ruler of All Dragons. This card is really cool as a 1-of in the deck, and as the ability, once per turn, you can detach a material from this card to destroy 2 cards, 1 from your hand or field, and 1 your opponent controls. And you can also banish a total of 2 fire dragons and or dragon monsters from your hand and or graveyard to special summon this card from the graveyard, return it back to the extra deck when it leaves the field, which is a pretty cool effect to instantly get this card out on your side of the field. And it's basically an upgraded version of Blaster. Hopefully in the future we get more upgraded versions of the Dragon Rulers in the form of XZs, which would just be really cool. And then a single copy of Dark Armed, the Dragon of Annihilation. This card is just really good in the deck as 1-of to be able to pop multiple cards on the field. It's just an amazing monster to be able to summon out to your side of the field. Plus this card can't attack after you activate this card's effect, so you always want to activate this card's effect during the main phase 2 after this card is already declared an attack. Then play a single copy of Red Eye's Flare Metal Dragon. Flare Metal just burns your opponent for 500 points of damage every time they breathe. We then play a single copy of Dracosac. Dracosac's amazing because it helps us summon out Link monsters because it generates 2 tokens on our side of the field, which is amazing to instantly get 2 tokens out on our side of the field. So we can go in for 2 copies of Link Spider, go in for a copy of G-Golem Crystal Heart, and then climb into a copy of Heat Soul so we can draw cards every single turn. Then play a single copy of Big Eye. Big Eye is really good in the deck as 1-up to be able to take control of our opponent's monsters. 1 copy of the Darkest Doom Rider. Darkest Doom Rider is just a pop, which is a quick effect that has a dragon as a material, which is a pretty cool and very easy thing to do in this deck. We then play a single copy of F-Zero. F-Zero is really good in the deck as a 1-up to basically just summon out to your side of the field and then make a copy of Utopic Draco Future, which is a really good 1-up in the deck to be able to summon out to your side of the field just to establish a negate in this build because it's very easy to summon out like a copy of Blaze and Dark Arm, pop cards on the field, and then make a copy of F-Zero, and then make your copy of Utopic Draco Future to basically just establish a negate on the field. Then make a single copy of Zeus. Zeus is so important because we play so many different XZs in this deck, and it's just an amazing card overall to be able to play in this build to basically just stop your opponent in their tracks and board wipe the field. We play a single copy of Access Code because it's so easy to go into, comes out absolutely massive, can pop multiple cards on the field, it's just a really good boss monster. 1 copy of Heat Soul. This card lets us draw a card every turn by paying 1,000, which is really easy in this deck to be able to do. 1 copy of G-Golem Crystal Heart. You make this by using 2 Link Spiders, which is really easy in this deck because all you have to do is summon out your copy of Dracosac. Once you summon out Dracosac, you use both the tokens to be able to summon out 2 copies of Link Spider. Use the 2 Link Spiders to summon out Crystal Heart. Crystal Heart will revive back one of the 2 Link Spiders, and then you link away the Link Spider plus this to make a copy of Heat Soul. We then play a single copy of Hieratic Seal. Hieratic Seal is just really good and just basically an essential card to play in any dragon deck. And then finally, 2 copies of Link Spider. You got to play the 2 Link Spiders so you can go in for Heat Soul. Because again, Dracosac, 2 Link Spiders with the tokens, make your copy of Crystal Heart, bring back a Link Spider off the Crystal Heart's effect, and then use 1 of the Link Spiders and a Crystal Heart to make Heat Soul so you can draw a card every single turn. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy. This deck is amazing. It's so cool to finally have the Dragon Rulers back at 2. Hopefully we'll get into 3 eventually, but for right now, it's enough to be able to make an extremely powerful deck, and they're really fun to be able to play with, and really nostalgic as well. So that's gonna be it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and definitely comment down below which one of the Dragon Rulers is your favorite. And that's gonna see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.